So hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us here for TransferCon Volume 2. This workshop is titled Scholarships 101 and it is brought to you by the Los Angeles Harbor College Transfer Center and Dream Resource Center. The intention of this workshop is meant to encourage our students to apply for scholarships, and that's students of all backgrounds. So thank you so much for joining us, whether you're here with us currently, presently live, or if you're going to be joining us on YouTube or IGTV, thank you so much for tuning in and learning from us. Mr. Silva, would you like to say anything?
Yes, around the same token, I just want to thank everybody for joining us and making time. We all know that everybody's extremely busy with everything going on, especially now being virtual. So hopefully everybody is having a wonderful week 3. I think as Natalie mentioned, we want to make sure that if you have questions that you have an opportunity to get those answered. So we really encourage you, if something comes up for you, drop it in the chat or let us know. Our intention and our goal for today is to make sure that you leave here with your questions answered, and that you're connected to different resources, whether that be through the LAHC Transfer Center or whether it be through the Dream Resource Center. So thank you for being here. I'm super excited. Can't wait to jump into it and start talking about scholarships, money. So thank you, Natalie. I'll go ahead and pass it back to you.
Perfect. So just going over our agenda today, we are going to have a welcome, a little survey to see what your familiarity with scholarships, defining scholarships, learning about internal, external scholarships, post-workshop survey, and connecting with us. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll for students to go ahead and answer. Give me one moment. For some reason, our poll is not functioning right now. Normally when I do a poll launch, it works just fine. I do have the questions in our Zoom account. That is so weird. We just went over it yesterday. Darn it.
Maybe we can ask them and then have them put it in the chat if whatever works best. Are you able to display the questions on the screen?
Yes, give me one moment.
Perfect. So while Natalie is kind of working to get that up, we really, the purpose and the intention of the questions is really to kind of see where folks are at in regards to scholarships. Some of you in the room may have applied to scholarships before, you may have received scholarships before, and then other folks here may have never applied to a scholarship. And so understanding like what a scholarship entails, what are some of the commonly asked questions. So we kind of want to get a sense of what's information folks already have in regards to scholarships before jumping into it.
Hi everyone, as they're getting ready and going through the Zoom, my name is Marcela Hernandez. I'm the Interim Transfer Director at Harbor, and I wanted to take this moment to just welcome you and thank you for joining us. Blanca, please feel free to chime in. Just so you guys know, you guys have 3 wonderful counselors here available to ask questions. They're very knowledgeable. Blanca comes from EOPNS. Ivan comes from Dreamers, and Natalie from Transfer, and together I just want to let you guys know that you are in good hands and you have a lot of knowledge right here in front of you. So they're here to really support you and provide you information. And I just wanted to make sure, please, Blanca, when you have any information you want to share, please feel free to jump in. So again, thank you all.
Thank you. The reason I'm here and I posted it in the chat is we never know, and I'm sure with students, you kind of always worry about whether a scholarship is legit, you know, if it's a legit site. And so that's what I'm trying to gather from here, you know, any potential scholarship websites that are pretty common and pretty secure for students to apply. And then of course, for my purpose to be able to share that. But I will tell you all students that if you don't apply, you don't get, and you will probably apply to 50 scholarships and only get one. But if you don't try, kind of like the lottery, right? If you don't try, you're not going to get anything. So I encourage you to take the time and to build your references, because a lot of these scholarships require letters of recommendation or reference letters. And so it's important to build rapport with your counselors in the different programs. So welcome to everyone. And thank you for putting this on, Natalie, Ivan, Marcela, of course.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be, to answer your question, Blanca, we'll definitely be providing resources to links and websites for legitimate resources. So what we'll be providing today is either scholarships that we've received in the past, scholarships that have been vetted through like nonprofit organizations. And so you're right, sometimes some of the scholarship search engines that you sign up for ask you for your contact information, your personal information, and then they spam your inbox uncontrollably. And so, you know, some of the great things about some of this is that a lot of the scholarships we're looking at are affiliated directly with different institutions like universities. And then other ones are comprehensive resource lists put together by reputable organizations. And so that kind of eliminates a lot of the back and forth, a lot of the, you know, especially with a lot of students where the contact information is sensitive, so you don't just want to kind of give it out to anybody. So absolutely we'll be jumping into that. I'm wondering, Natalie, if we just want to kind of maybe skip the, oh, it's up. Perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. If
I see it on my end. Hopefully everyone sees it just in time.
Okay, so it looks like you guys kind of have an idea already. I'm looking, students, thank you so much for voting. Sounds like everybody has an idea. We just wanted to keep the poll really brief and simple and just cut and dry, so that way you have an idea of what it is for scholarships that you want to make sure that you are aware of and informed about. Because when I was a student, I thought completely opposite of what is on the poll. I was not familiar with scholarships at all. So I hope that with this workshop, you feel very comfortable and confident applying and learning more about the different options for you as a student. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the results of the poll. Take a look. So we have some smart cookies here with us. Great job. And we can go ahead and continue. Give me one moment.
Let's jump in. Let's start talking about money. Just really quick, give me a thumbs up if you have applied to a scholarship before. You can put a thumbs up in the chat. All right, awesome, perfect. So some folks already who have already applied. Kelly says yes in the chat. Excellent, excellent. So we're gonna rely on your expertise as well, right? Because we all have expertise. All right. So I'll go ahead and go really quick. That way we have enough time. So again, my name is Ivan. I'm the counselor coordinator for the Dream Resource Center. What we do is we provide academic, financial aid, legal, and social support to undocumented students on campus. I'll go ahead and put my information on the chat if you want to connect with me and kind of specifically what that looks like, whether you want to set up a counseling appointment or just want to have a chat about some of the supports and services that we provide. Whether it's academic counseling, assistance with completing your California DREAM Act application, getting connected to free legal consultations and legal resources, or if you're interested in our Dreamers Club on campus and want to get more involved with some of the social aspects that are happening as well. You know, we're open to undocumented students and allies, so we'd love to support you in whatever way that we can. So. Went through that kind of fast just for the sake of time, but I will put my contact information in the chat if you want to send me a private message or reach out to me directly. All right, so let's go to the next slide.
Okay, and then Hi, everyone. Thank you so much again for all of your patience through my technical difficulties. I was really, really sad because I already did our surveys a couple of days ago. So I was really sad that they didn't launch and they weren't appearing in my Zoom account anymore. I'm so sorry about that, but wonderful job on the poll. And thank you, of course, to our wonderful Transfer Center Interim Director, Ms. Marcela Hernandez. Thank you so much for your support and for joining us and to encourage our students, as well as Ms. Blanca Rodriguez, who's been Transfer Advocate of the Year 2 years in a row. She's wonderful with our students and supports and encourages them so much in transfer. And of course, thank you to our Dream Resource Center for partnering with the Transfer Center in collaboration of this workshop to encourage our students. Mr. Silva and myself both do want for you to feel confident in applying to scholarships. So a little bit about myself. My name is Natalie Parra. I'm a transfer counselor in the Transfer Center. I'm a Harbor College alumni. I have an AA from Harbor College in liberal arts and sciences with emphasis in social and behavioral science. And I'm a recipient of many scholarships and grants that funded my education, including the Harbor College scholarships, that you can apply through our financial aid office, many USC scholarships, and the Ebell of Los Angeles scholarship, which is unfortunately only open to students with US citizenship. However, if you want more information about that one specifically, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'm glad to answer your questions about that scholarship. And like I said before, my goal is to encourage you to transfer and earn scholarships too. I remember when I was young, I thought that only athletes got scholarships, and the students at my high school, we had like scholarship night in senior year. I thought those were the only kids that got scholarships, and boy, was I wrong. So I hope that you see that there are so many opportunities for you with this. Ivan, do you want to go ahead and go over what a scholarship is?
Yeah, so essentially what a scholarship is, and a lot of you already got it right on the pre-workshop assessment, it's money that's awarded to you usually through a college, an organization, like a nonprofit. It could be a church, it could be a government agency. A lot of corporations offer scholarships as well. Scholarships, and this is really important, scholarships should never charge you to apply. So if you have found a scholarship and they're asking for a fee, either a processing fee or any sort of fee that's associated with the actual scholarship, be very wary. Don't apply to that. True scholarships ask for a lot of times a personal statement, maybe a resume, but they won't actually charge and require money. So as I mentioned, charities, unions, religious groups, cultural centers, all apply, afford scholarships to students. Literally, if you can think of an organization, they most likely have a scholarship available. A lot of churches, if you're affiliated with a certain religious organization or a church, a lot of times they have a scholarship available as well. And so again, the big kind of takeaways with scholarship, it's money that's awarded to you that does not have to be paid back. Sometimes the scholarship either goes directly to the educational institution that you're attending. And so in this case, it's LA Harbor College, or in some cases, they could send the funds directly to you, either in the form of a check or some other monetary compensation. Blanca, I see your question. Do they require the listing of your social security number? That's a good question. We'll talk about that as we go through the presentation. Some scholarships do require you to be a citizen. Luckily for us today, we're going to focus on scholarships that don't require legal citizenship status. But those typically tend to be corporations. So Chevron, Taco Bell, Texaco, larger corporations tend to require you to be a US citizen. So if it's a large corporation like that, I would look into it a little bit more. Nonprofits, some governmental agencies, just depending on what the government agency is, particularly like if it's in the state of California, don't require a social security number. So there's a lot of variation when it comes to the type of scholarships. But the one thing that I want students to know, whether you're undocumented or not, is there is a scholarships available to everyone out there, whether regardless of citizenship status. I mean, there's scholarships, and we'll talk about those in a second. But there are scholarships available to everybody regardless of citizenship status. So I want you to remember that today as we're kind of going through the different scholarships. Anything you'd want to add there, Natalie, on what a scholarship is? Anything I missed?
No, everything was covered really nicely. I do want to just add one thing, as well. I'm a little bit anecdotal. So I had a student a few years ago that told me, what's the point of applying for a scholarship? I looked through them and it's $500 here, $300 there. The school I want to go to is $60,000 a year. What does it matter, really? And I told the student, I said, okay, well, think about it. You do your application, that takes you what, 2-3 hours to do, right? Your essay, your all the information, your letters of recommendation. Maybe you have a professor that you have a good relationship with that they'll change out the letter really fast, or they give you a generic one that you can attach to any scholarship, right? So in 5 hours, you've made $500. That's $50 an hour. That's really good money. That's money later on that when you're trying to go to school, you do not have to worry about taking a loan out for $500, right? Because now you know it would take hours and hours of work to pay back just $500. Same thing goes with not having to take away time from studying too. So the money adds up, $500 here, $500 there. If you get 10 $500 scholarships, that's $5,000 that you otherwise wouldn't have had because you had the attitude of, well, it's just $500. No, it's okay. Like whatever, forget it. The tiny scholarships too that have, maybe it's only $250 here, $500 there. Those also, because they don't have like this huge amount, sometimes they get very few applicants. So if you're the only person that applied, you automatically get it. So that's another thing too. I had one student, she literally had to read a book and write an essay what she thought about the book, and she got the scholarship. It was for $800, and they literally told her no one else applied except for her. So she automatically got it. And she actually was an undocumented student, and she was so on fire about it and really excited. And since then she's applied for and received many scholarships. So don't get discouraged by amounts. I'm sure, if you see one for $60,000, apply for it. But apply for the small ones too. And then moving forward, just talking about scholarships available regardless of citizenship status. So we did want to empower all of our students to apply for scholarships no matter their circumstances. And that includes our wonderful Harbor College Scholarship. Now, it sounds like it's just like one scholarship, but it's not. So the Harbor College Scholarship, you apply through our financial aid office, through our financial aid website each spring. But within the Harbor College Scholarship application, you're actually matched to many different scholarship opportunities. So I got the Osher Scholarship 2 years in a row, along with maybe 10 other students. We all got Osher scholarships. They have them for example, the Social and Behavioral Sciences Division has a scholarship. I believe ASO, they have their own separate application for the ASO scholarship too. I know that many divisions within student services, they do provide scholarships to our students, either through the Harbor College Scholarship, or they'll provide their own application like ASO. I said before, they do it that way, but that's something to keep an eye out for. That's why you definitely want to utilize our Instagram, for example, to keep updated on all things related to upcoming scholarships and opportunities to apply. And you never know, you may very well get one. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is the UC Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. I know that UCs do seem they do seem like somewhat of a big difference in terms of cost compared to the Cal States. However, students who come from a home with an income of less than $80,000 a year do qualify for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, in which students do not have to pay the tuition. It's waived for them. And with that, that is for both our Dreamer students and our students who apply through FAFSA. So that's another wonderful way to get the UC education paid for you. Mr. Silva also knows about the Immigrants Rising Resource Finder, which is a wonderful PDF list here. And I was looking into it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It shows all the scholarships that students can apply for, and it shows all of the deadlines, everything in there. So we can share this with all of you after the workshop is over, just so that you can have the list. If you want to take a screenshot with this on your phone or on your computer, you're welcome to take a screenshot as well. Mr. Silva, do you want to add anything about Immigrants Rising really quickly?
Yeah, so I wanna highlight two really important scholarship resources, and one is the Immigrants Rising Resource Finder or scholarship list. If you've worked with me in the past, or if you're one of the DRC students, you know about this. So I'd love to get your feedback on it, but it's a great resource that's put together by Immigrants Rising. That is a collection of scholarships that are open to students regardless of citizenship status. And so I went ahead and I put the link in the chat. What's great about the resource is that it's filtered by deadlines. And so when you open it up, you'll notice it says 2020 scholarships at the very top. And then it's organized January all the way to December. So right now we're in September, so you can filter all the way to September, and you can look at, oh, thank you, Natalie. You can look at scholarships where the deadline is approaching. To keep in mind that these scholarships are national scholarships, so you have to be mindful is that sometimes you're looking at it and the scholarship is specifically for students in Texas or specifically for students in Arizona. There's also field of study that indicates, and so sometimes scholarships are only for music majors or humanities and social science majors. So it still takes a little bit of filtering, but there's dozens and dozens of scholarships on here. So even if you're not undocumented, you still might be eligible for these scholarships as well, right? So these are unique in the sense that they don't ask for citizenship status, but it doesn't mean that somebody who is a legal US citizen cannot apply for them. So it's a really, really good resource. It's updated annually, so we're expecting soon to get the 2021 scholarship list. So if you don't have this already saved on your computer, make sure that you bookmark it. You spend some time, that way when you're going through it, you can begin creating a scholarship chart of upcoming scholarships, right? So you want to be able to organize them by upcoming deadlines. So in other words, the one that's due at the end of September, you want to work on that one first, as opposed to one that's due at the end of October. And so this kind of does that work for you. I see a question.
The YouTube video, right?
Yes, yeah. So that's the next one I'm going to highlight, the Dreamers Roadmap. So that was the Immigrants Rising. The next one I want to highlight is actually an app. We're all on our phones, throughout the day, and so one of the really nice.
Hey guys, welcome to this quick.
Is through an app called Dreamers Roadmap. So really quick, give me a thumbs up if you've already heard of this app before, or this rings, or you've come across it somewhere. Okay, so a couple folks. For the most part, though, it seems like this is the first time folks are hearing about it. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and play the video, Natalie. This is going to be a quick tutorial on what it looks like. Because it's an app, we can't, I guess I could hold my phone up, but it'll be easier to kind of just watch the video. So it's about 1.5 minutes, and it walks you through how the app works.
Of the Dreamers Roadmap, let's jump into it. First, you want to go to the App Store and you want to search for Dreamers. It's the first app to show up and it gives you some information. So you want to go ahead and download that. Of course, it's free. I already have mine downloaded. So you're just going to open it and it's going to take you to the main page where you can create an account or you can explore. It also gives you some insight, letting you know you can share, save, comment, or explore scholarships. So let's go ahead and explore. It takes you to the scholarship page, which you can scroll through and basically look at all of the scholarships, which are organized by due date. So just pick one, and on every scholarship, it's going to tell you the due date, the name of the scholarship, the award amount, the location, status, and educational level. It will give you a bunch of information and you can read it and scroll to the bottom where it'll link you to the scholarship website where they're hosting the scholarship. Or you can go back to the app and share it through message, email, Twitter, or set a reminder. If you go back, there's a page just for tips where it's basically like a little blog that gives you some pointers and guides on college in general. Remember, creating an account is not a requirement to explore the app, but if you logged in, you can quickly access your page. I hope this quick Dreamers Roadmap tutorial was helpful. Let me know if you have any more questions, and thank you for watching.
Thank you, Natalie. I put a link in the chat of actually an article that was written by Remezcla about the creator of Dreamers Roadmap. So her name is actually Sarai Espinosa Salamanca. She's an undocumented student herself, and she's the one who created the app. What she found throughout her time is that there wasn't kind of a centralized location for students to go to who are undocumented to look for scholarships. And so she realized that our phones are so vital in what we use every day, so why not have an app specifically for? And so she created this and it took off. So when you download the app, it takes a little bit of scrolling because unlike the Immigrants, well, actually like the Immigrants Rising, it's also sorted by deadline. So you kind of have to scroll through to get to September. But, you know, it's another great resource if you are bored and, you know, can't fall asleep. Well, you know, you can pull out your phone, look through scholarships. That probably won't help you sleep, but, you know, it's a great way to look for different scholarship opportunities. I do see a couple questions in the chat. So let's see, let's go to Rebecca. Do you apply to UC Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan through financial aid? And then if you get into the UC, they tell you, or what's the process of applying? Natalie, do you want to tackle that one?
Yes, of course. Wonderful question, Rebecca. Thank you for asking that. It is done through the financial aid application is how they determine if you are eligible for the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. There's no additional scholarship application that you have to apply for that one. So that is wonderful for students. Great question. Anything else? Oh, Miss Blanca asked a question. Is Dreamers Roadmap for Dreamers eligible for, or is Dreamers Roadmap only available for Dreamers students to apply to?
Good question, Blanca. So similar to the Immigrants Rising scholarship list, is these are scholarships that don't ask for citizenship. So if you're a citizen or a non-citizen, if you're here on temporary protection status, they're not going to ask about that. So technically it's open to everybody. You know, there might be some that ask that state specifically only for undocumented students, but you know, a lot of them are open and just don't ask about citizenship status. It's a great question.
And then I just want to add one thing. I'm sorry, Miss Blanca Rodriguez of EOPS said that EOPS offers 15 scholarships throughout the Harbor College Scholarship in the spring term. She said that you can do Command Shift 3 to do a screenshot if you want to save that that information, because she did put it in the chat for you. But like I said before, EOPS is incredible with all the hard work they do for our students. Would you like to add anything, Miss Blanca, about that?
Yeah, so the Command Shift 3, I think was for, I think it was Guillermo. He wanted to take a picture of the scholarships available page. But yeah, so part of that LAHC scholarship, if you're not part of EOPS already, just know that we always offer 15 scholarships through EOP&S. Through that scholarship, we do get a list from financial aid of all eligible EOPS students. And so again, it's just a matter of applying. I can't stress that enough. Like Natalie said, it's time. You know, if you think about just the $500, it's, if you take, it can't be more than 3 hours where you're completing this application. If you take that time, I mean, that's money that's there for you, for your education, for your supplies, for whatever you need. So I encourage you to take the time.
Thank you, Ms. Blanca. And then Ms. Marcela Hernandez, our interim director, she also provided in the chat a link to the California Community College Transfer.org scholarship page. So if you'd like, you're welcome to add that link as well to your favorites tab.
Yeah, and that one has a little bit of everything. So some of those you might have to be a U.S. citizen for that list, but those are in one of the transfer counselors' website. So I still share that with my students because it's a large amount of websites there. Thank you, Natalie, for sharing that. And it's an extensive list. So for those of you that really want to tackle this as a job. Honestly, I would recommend, once you have your essay done, once you have some recommendation letters, you can adapt those to anything that you like. And this one does have based on major, based on ethnicity, based on the campus you're trying to go to, if you're male, female. So it has a lot of scholarships. So I would strongly also recommend that. I had the opportunity for the first time in many, many years to actually be a reader for the Transfer Honor Scholarship at Harbor this past spring. And to be honest with you, it was, I sat there and it was honestly maybe about 9 or 10 students that applied out of the thousands of students that we have at Harbor. Only like less than 15 applied. And even as I read their essays, a lot of them left a lot of information out that the essay was asking for. So it was just a competition between whether you answered the questions, what did you do, did you have the GPA for the honors. It was just real simple, and it was nice to know that we were able to give money away, but it's just a matter of applying, you know, and having it done. And it's really the same essay over and over, maybe tweaking it a little bit here and there for the scholarship. But you can really make a living off of scholarships if you really put your heart into it. It is a job and it is free money. And I strongly recommend looking at that list. See how it keeps going and going, Natalie? It's a really extensive. I use it all the time. When a student tells me scholarships, I send them. I go, I'm not supposed to share this website, but I send it to all my students. I said, here's a scholarship one. So I can't say, being a reader, knowing what we're looking for to award scholarships to students, it's really important for you to really read the application thoroughly. And I don't know if you guys are going to cover this later, but reading the application, what they ask you, and answering it in your essay, and having recommendations and references, it's vital. And it's really easy, because obviously if you're here today in this workshop, you're definitely interested in learning. And I really hope that this will motivate you to really sit through some of these and just apply for free money. I mean, who doesn't like free money, right?
Yes, you're so right. I do want to share a couple for my students who are interested specifically in transferring to USC as well. Rebecca, you asked a question, are the ccctransfer.org scholarships available for UCs and Cal States? Okay, so what happens is you want to look at the requirements for each individual scholarship and just determine if they want those scholarships to be an internal scholarship or external. So internal means it's specifically for students at a specific campus. So the UC Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, which is right here, right? That's an internal scholarship specifically for UC students, right? The Harbor College Scholarship, that's an internal scholarship specifically for Harbor College students. Certain ones like the Starbucks Scholarship, maybe Starbucks is giving away money, but you can go to any school as long as it's regionally accredited, right? Same thing for Nordstrom. Nordstrom has a scholarship too. They will pay for whichever university you attend. Those are considered external. The Dr. Pepper one, where they throw the footballs in the Dr. Pepper things, that's another external. So it does vary by school, by scholarship, how they want to determine what constitutes them giving the money, whether they want you to have a certain major, that you attend a certain campus, or that you're either a junior, freshman, sophomore, senior, right? I do want to share really quickly a couple of scholarships that are really wonderful, and they are dreamer friendly, they are transfer friendly, they're friendly to Harbor College students. I've known many Harbor College students that receive these scholarships. This includes the Norman Topping Student Aid Fund at USC and the USC Latino Alumni Association. So both of these scholarships are internal scholarships to USC students. So if you want to go to USC, you need to do these scholarship applications while you're applying to USC. So this year, if you're applying to USC, this is when you also want to start working on the Norman Topping Student Aid Fund Scholarship and the Latino Alumni Scholarship. So the Norman Topping Scholarship is due in May, June. So I'll put that one right there for you. So I do want all of you, if you can go ahead and go to these links and save the tabs in your favorites on your computer, I think that would be a great way to bookmark things But with this application, they really do want students to have a strong dedication to community service. But this scholarship is wonderful with retention of first-gen students, retention of students who need that additional support to help them. The Latino Alumni Association scholarship, which I received as well, wonderful program. They're very pro educating students who are first gen as well on learning how to advocate for themselves as, you know, future professionals in whatever industry that you're interested in. They're very pro professional development. But the Latino Alumni Association, they do a wonderful job as well with not only giving you money to go to school, but also supporting you in your academic journey, in your journey through career exploration and learning what it is that you need to do in order to land that internship, to land that job, to get the research experience. And then the last one, which actually I learned about through the USC Latino Alumni Association, is Telacu. So Telacu is another one that works with students. They do have a strong connection to serving Latino students in higher education, but they have a lot of scholarships available to students. They do have one through Toyota, but they are another great resource for students. So these are in the chat for all of you to go ahead and review. As you can see, we kind of hit the tip of the iceberg, and there is so much more to learn about scholarships. We will continue with this presentation, but like I said, I hope that this jumpstarts your dedication to really looking into this for yourself and advocating for yourself to receive that funding and support. So who normally gets a scholarship? I'll just go over that really quickly. I thought it was athletes and freshmen, but no, it could definitely be you. There are scholarships for community college transfer students of diverse backgrounds. You just need to do your research to find the right opportunities for you. So when you're not doing homework and studying and taking your classes, that's the perfect time to squeeze in, okay, I'm gonna do some research on some scholarships right now. I'm gonna start marking down in my calendar when they're due, and I'm gonna start asking my instructors if they can write me a letter of recommendation. That's when you wanna join clubs on campus too, because that makes you look great for scholarships as well. So being involved on campus, that's another great way to stand out for scholarships. Yvonne,
Natalie, can I add to that really quick? I think you should take it beyond that. It's not when you're not doing homework, I think you should incorporate that into your routine, you know, into maybe it's like a class, right? So schedule some time once a week, you know, if that's the case, so that you do dedicate the time to look for these scholarships, because like Natalie says, it takes a lot of research. There are hundreds, thousands of scholarships, and they all have specific, guidelines or requirements. And so, but it takes time to do this. So I would actually go beyond that, you know, and say, make sure that you schedule some time on a weekly basis to researching these scholarships and actually taking the time to actually apply.
yes, thank you. You're so right. It is literally a full-time job. So you're absolutely correct that they need to put in those hours and energy, and it is so worth it in the end.
And that ties on to our next slide about when you should be applying to scholarships. And as kind of Blanca alluded to and Natalie's been talking about, scholarships, the deadlines vary. And so really sometimes we tend to hear like, oh, it's scholarship season, but scholarship season is all season, all year, you know, just depending on the scholarships that you're applying for. You may see some that tend to be more offered more so in the springtime, but that doesn't mean that there isn't scholarships available in the fall, in the winter, in the summer. And so, you know, part of the process is making sure that you're researching the scholarships that are available, making sure that you're organizing the deadlines, and making sure that you're understanding the requirements, right? So do you meet the GPA qualifications? Are they asking for a specific major? And then are you organized in making sure and understanding which ones you need to complete first? And so that's why we recommend organizing it by deadline. If you miss a deadline, that's okay. Because you might be eligible for the scholarship for the next year, right? And so put it in your scholarship calendar and put it for next year. So that way when it's offered again, you can apply for it the following year. The other thing I'll add, and a lot of people have talked about this already, is make sure that you're utilizing your counselors as well. As a counselor, you know, I meet with students and we all do, Blanca, Marcela, Natalie, make appointments with us. Ask us, can you go over my scholarship personal statement? Can you review this? Do you have any feedback? Is there any advice you can provide? We'd be more than happy to sit down with you and to meet with you and talk about, different scholarship opportunities or review your scholarship application. Yes, and Blanca writes, in a timely manner and not the day of the deadline. Absolutely. But everybody here is more than happy to meet with students. I mean, I'm pretty confident when I say I'm super excited that when a student comes across, our virtual desk now and they say, I want to talk to you about, can you review my scholarship or what do you, absolutely. So anything that we can do to support, let us know. That's definitely what we're here for. Yes, but not the day before. Thank you.
I also wanted to add that some people think when it's an academic scholarship that it's based on GPA. And some are based on GPA. So yes, you'll have to submit a transcript, but others are based on your life history, like your struggles, your challenges, and they understand that sometimes you might not have the highest GPA. So I wouldn't focus on your GPA and be aware that it is a requirement for some, but don't let it discourage you based on your GPA for not applying for a scholarship, because they're really, scholarships are created by independent people as well. And it might just be an individual that says, I want to give a scholarship out to a student that is a minority or a student that has below a 2.0 GPA, that lives in certain conditions, or that is just an older adult. So there's different people out there creating scholarships for different criteria, and you don't want to not go for those scholarships that do require that don't specify a GPA requirement.
Marcela, if I can ask you a quick question, because you've reviewed scholarships. So the scholarships that you've reviewed, in your professional opinion, what was it about the scholarship application that stood out to you the most? Was it the GPA, or was it something else about the scholarship application that stood out?
For the last particular one that I did, it was for the transfer honor. So GPA was a requirement for that one. So all the ones that applied already came with the high GPA. What set them apart were the fact that the ones that were at the top of my list were ones that actually answered all the questions in the essay format, because they really wanted to know any obstacles or struggles, and a lot of students miss those. So some of them, I think for the most part, the only one that I read that was fluent, and not just one sentence, but detailed on the obstacle and why the major, or whatever they're asking you, make sure you're hitting it in your essay. And I think that's one thing that was challenging for me when I was reading them, because I could see that there was a lot of good information on some, but it didn't break down all of the information that the actual criteria of that scholarship was asking. So that's why I said, make sure you know what it's asking and answer. Make sure the body of your essay has those criterias covered.
Can I also add to that, please? I've read scholarship essays as well, and I think that what's important is write it with intention, write it with a purpose, right? Because, and again, I think it comes down to time, right? Because if you are applying for a scholarship that's due the day of, or, even the week of, with everything else going on, if you don't fully invest yourself in what you're writing and what you're trying to express to this committee that is reading your essay, that we could actually sense that when we read these essays. So make sure that you always take the time and fully and write with a purpose, just kind of like with your own work, right, at school, your papers at school. Write with a purpose, write with intention, because we can hear you. If we're, when the committee is reading your papers, we could actually hear your story. And so when I've read essays that are kind of, what's the word, half
robotic or very,
okay. I was thinking
I'm
of
saving
word.
you. I'm saving you, Blanca, robotic
word. But yes, that's not well written. That's, that really is not telling me your story. Then that for me is a turnoff, right? Because there are so many other students that may have written something so much better. And then always have somebody review your essay. I think that is so important, because any little bit of tweaking or suggestions or even grammatical errors, I think is important, because that really shows that you take the time to actually write this paper and have it revised. So I think it comes down again to time, and it comes down to purpose and intention. And do you really want the scholarship?
Thank you, Marcela and Blanca. That's exactly why I asked the question. You hit on it. It's the importance of narrative and being able to portray yourself in a way that the reader, you can make them feel something in a way that's cohesive and personal in a sense. So thank you so much for highlighting that. All right. Now, do you want to be conscious of time? It's 1:55. I want to make sure we have time for student questions. All right. So questions on anything that's been brought up today? Any points of clarification or any questions that you have?
I'll answer Priya's question. Priya asked the question if EOPS announces the scholarships when they open, and I'm the care coordinator, so I oversee the program for our single parents in our EOPS program, and so I do send out that information to my care students. Our EOPS program as a whole, I believe we put that on our Facebook, but it's always through that financial aid email that students get, the general email that financial aid will send out. So I'm not sure if we actually, EOPS sends a specific email to our EOPS applicants, or participants. But if we do, it's not via email, it'll be posted on our website. So just always make sure that you're checking your school email. That's super, super important. Any important information that you're all going to receive is going to go to your LACCD email. So make sure that you're checking that you link that to your personal email so that you don't miss out on all of the great opportunities that we have on campus.
Absolutely. So Natalie.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Guillermo.
Oh, yeah. I have a question, actually. And it doesn't pertain to, the workshop today, but I have a question regarding merit-based scholarships. So I know that some universities do have those. I think USC is one of them. I would like to know if, and I think you apply for those when you are applying for that university, I guess, but I'm not sure if, we are not still, in that period of time where we're applying, but I guess I would like to know beforehand if, for these merit-based scholarships, if we are doing a separate application, or if the same application that we're using for the university, is the same that, the scholarship committee is taking into account for that specific, for the scholarship. I don't know if that makes any sense, but what I'm trying to say is, do we need to do another application when we're applying to universities, if those universities have those scholarships based on different criteria?
Yes, so that depends on each campus. At USC specifically, when it comes to their scholarships like Latino Alumni Association, Norman Topping Student Aid Fund, those are separate applications. So you have to go into each one of those websites that I shared with you in the chat, and then in there they will direct you with how to do the application, and they have separate due dates from the application for admission to USC. So what happened with me, for example, I was applying to Latino Alumni Association, Norman Topping Student Aid Fund, and doing my USC application all at the same time, and they were all due on different dates. So USC was due February, Latino Alumni Association was due in March, and USC Norman Topping Student Aid Fund was due in May. So for me, I had to do all three of those, and then from there, you're putting your time and energy into applying to these scholarships, and you don't even know if you're going to get into the school or not. So it's kind of like a little bit of time consuming, and it's a risk, right? Because you haven't gotten in. And I actually had to confirm that I was going to attend USC, even though Latino Alumni Association didn't tell me if I got my scholarship or not yet. and USC Norman Topping Student Aid Fund hadn't told me that I was going to get my scholarship yet. So I didn't really know if I even got those, but I just took a risk and I said, okay, I'll just go ahead and attend there. And I had interviews for both, and thankfully I was able to get them. But it is one of those kind of gambles where you have to outweigh the risk and the reward. Thankfully with USC, they also give a good financial aid package for students a lot of the time, because they have the university grant that they give on top of the Pell Grant and the Cal Grant, so that can like make up for areas that are missing money. But yeah, no, it definitely is a separate application a lot of the time, if not all the time. The only one I think that USC has that comes automatically with your application for admission is the Transfer Merit Scholarship. And that one they normally give to students. I only knew one student who got Transfer Merit, and that student did honors at their community college with a 4.0. So they do have like one scholarship for students that's separate and just it's part of the application, but that one they only give to so many. So that's why it's important to not just wait for the university to give you scholarships when you get your acceptance letter, but also actively look for them.
Okay, thank you for that.
And you're also welcome to make an appointment with me so I can go over the application with you. If you have questions, I'm glad all of you are welcome to see me for an appointment to go over scholarship application search and questions about them. Okay, so please don't hesitate to join me in the Transfer Center.
Yeah, and just a quick, I know we're about close to 2 o'clock. When you write in English, you're going to have an English professor that is always going to ask you, tell me about yourself, tell me about an obstacle, tell me about something that you've overcome, what is your major. Use those essays that you have to write for your courses as writing examples or props, or elaborate more on those essays you've already written about yourself. This is really the time to, we're not used to bragging about ourselves or talking about ourselves, but really, like Blanca mentioned, it's that essay that really gets close to our hearts, that really has some good heart sentiment with it of what the struggles are, or the challenges, or the reason why you're passionate about your major. Use some of those essays you've already done in class and elaborate a little bit more, and use all of them to help create that essay for the scholarships that you'll apply in the future. So just a little advice on that. You've already written about yourself, but now you're writing now for another purpose, a monetary purpose, which is always a good thing.
Might be a good follow-up workshop is doing a scholarship narrative, how to support students in coming up with their narrative and then being able to put that out there. Any other questions?
I just want to add one other thing. If you joined us a little late, that's totally okay. We're glad you were here with us. Please make sure that you go ahead and put in your Harbor College ID number into the chat as a private message to me, Natalie Parra, so that way we can take attendance and make sure that you are counted as a student that we served during TransferCon this week. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we do want to make sure that you all feel comfortable connecting with us through social media. I have a little screenshot of our Transfer Center Instagram, but both the Dream Resource Center and the Transfer Center have Instagram accounts that you are so welcome to follow for all the helpful news and updates related to the centers and the services available to students. So the Harbor College Transfer Center is at LAHC Transfer Center on Instagram, and the Dream Resource Center Instagram is dreamers_LAHC. So please follow those accounts if you don't already. And last but not least, our Grad Guru app. That is a wonderful app that gives you notifications of the first day to apply for financial aid, the last day. Financial aid uses the Grad Guru app, so does the Transfer Center, so do many programs on campus. So download that app and indicate that your college is LA Harbor College, and you'll receive all the updates and notifications, and it is so helpful. No data on your phone, and it doesn't take up memory on your phone either.
Natalie, I went ahead and put my information in the chat as well if students want to make appointments with me or they want to connect with me regarding scholarships or anything that we've talked about today. Please, like Blanca and Marcela and Natalie have mentioned, reach out to us. We're here to support you, whether it's looking for scholarships, reading over your personal statement, You know, we're here for you, and so we want you to know that virtually, we're still here to support you regardless.
Yes, and Ms. Blanca did give an announcement to the EOPS students to please complete the workshop verification form, as this workshop satisfies the workshop requirement.
All right.
Well, with that being said, thank you so much to everyone for joining us. I'm going to end the recording right now, but thank you from the Transfer Center and Dream Resource Center.